You guys know what time it is when you see Big Red out there. So I'm back at Jim's house. It's about a week before he heads back up to Maine, and we're gonna kind of go over the process of what he does to the garden before he leaves, and he's in the middle of doing it. So I'm gonna shut up and take you over here. Jim, the human mulcher.
Hey, another year, it's ending up. Putting everything.
Looking a little different since last time I was here.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get everything out. I've been at it for just about 10 days now. Probably got another 5 to get it all covered, but.
You ready to get back up to Maine?
Yeah, but I think they got an inch of snow yesterday.
What?
On top of the tulips.
Oh, that'll set things back a little bit, huh?
Well, that's normal. Tulips will handle it.
Is this stuff a little extra sticky this time?
Yeah, so they have another, I guess they put it out to bid every time, so they get a different company every time, or could be. And, you know, people, so this is exactly what I want this time of the year. So if you look, I mean, it looks like cypress mulch.
So you like it a little woodier before you leave? Yeah, because
because it's going to have to sit there, you know, and keep it covered for a longer time. And if it's already, this is some of the older stuff, and it's already almost soil, so weed seeds will sprout in that a lot easier. And it's so much lighter. I mean,
easier to move wise.
Oh man, it's awesome. So yeah, we'll just go through how I put the garden to sleep here. So
what truck number is this, Jim?
8.
Truck number 8. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a little small load. Usually it's about 6 yards. That's probably only 5 or 4. Yeah. So after I go through and cut everything out, and then I also dig up the old sweet potatoes because they'll be sprouting all over, and I got 2 boxes like that I'm going to be able to take to Maine to eat. So that's the last of last year's sweet potatoes I'm getting. Okay, and then I just buy the Publix black-eyed peas, and I use this spreader. Works really good. And I go through it. I used to plant them one by one through the mulch, but what I found is that this works just as good and so much faster. And I'm putting, you know, across a ½ acre, I'll probably end up putting maybe 15 pounds, so it's pretty heavy, but it works so good. And one thing about black-eyed peas, you know, it could be a good cover crop that also is an economic crop, like the Kaisers talk about, but sometime in the past, you know, 10 years since I've been doing this, I've got the curculio come in, and what that is, some kind of a, I think it's a caterpillar, but it goes into the pod as it's getting ripe and eats all the peas. But again, when we talk about composition instead of imposition, think about all these plants that come up, all these black-eyed peas, and if they all set seeds, and they all set viable seeds, I'd have a black-eyed pea weedy mess. But I don't get any because the curculios take them out, because I'm not here to harvest. So I'd be bummed if I was counting on these as an economic crop, but it worked out. So that's cool. And then I just spread the mulch over the top. So I've gone through and cut everything off at the ground level. So just imagine if you look over there, right? All that vegetation that's above ground, a lot of that is similarly down, underground, all the root mass. But I spread it down so it's about, when it's mulchy like this, probably 3 inches. But one thing that, you know, I've told people this, and I've told you, but people aren't picking it up. So,
you're not paying attention, Jim?
Okay, so what do I have here?
Oh, you're gonna make compost tea, aren't you?
Right. Oh, so you heard that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but Annie didn't. I never heard of that. But so now there's a lot of soil life, or bacterial and fungal life in that when it's in the pile, but as soon as you spread it out, they'll die if exposed to sun. So I'm washing it through. and I'm actually making compost tea. So I'm doing a flush of compost tea on the soil underneath. It's going to start growing my sweet potato flips and the black-eyed peas. And it's not just watering it, it's watering it so it floods. You know what I mean?
Soaking it, yeah.
Yeah, just keep and that way, you know, it pushes the fines down and you end up with the mulch on top.
You typically do this every pile, or you do it
every pile? So it takes longer, plus it gives me a break, but now think of that. So I'm pushing that through, and now I'm pushing a really highly mineralized water with the salt water. So I'm also doing C90. When's the last time we talked about C90?
It's been some years.
You know, and you know, that's worth checking into. So that could be another big thing I'm doing. Anybody that's serious about growing sweet potatoes through the summer should start their own slips. It's so easy. So all I did here was made 4 furrows, right, that were probably 6 inches deep, and laid the sweet potatoes side by side in there. And they just come up. And so I've already pulled these, but so let me think, what am I going to plant out there? I'm going to do the Georgia Jets. So these have already been harvested once, but the potatoes will sprout up again. And then you just do that, and look what you got.
Did you get like 30 slips in one hit?
No, but 10, 15.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Considering you're paying $1 a piece if you buy only a few. Okay, so now this is what I got. They've been out of the ground 30 seconds.
Got to get your high-tech sweet potato planter.
Oh yeah, I better get that. So let's go ahead and just plant them in that a little bit I just mulched.
Is that what you've been using now?
What?
A pick?
Yeah. What do you think I used?
It's a big screwdriver or something.
No, I like this. It's really good for garlic and onions too. But what I do is I just lay them out, and I'm planting them a little closer, probably more like, you know, 16 inches apart.
What, than you typically would?
Than I used to, because I got so many. And you know, they say if they crowd, they might tuber more. But then all I do is do that. And you can roll with that. I mean, I can do, you know, 300 slips in, you know, an hour. And I'm trying to do them in the afternoon. So I pull them in the afternoon, and luckily we've been getting rains in the afternoon. So these were planted over here probably 3 days ago. And look, I mean, they're growing already.
Already standing up.
Yeah, I mean, and the other ones are, you know, and then if we come over here, they were planted probably 10 days ago. The black-eyed peas are up too. I'd love you to come by in about 6 weeks. But I mean, look at all the black-eyed peas.
Wow.
I mean, that's going to be a lot of biomass, root in the soil and leaf and stem on the top that'll fold down. Ladybug, happy good.
All right, we'll take it.
So that's
peanuts this year?
What's that?
No peanuts this year?
Still the areas I don't want to really cover, so I did that. So
Okay.
there's some coming up from last year.
And you replanted in here too?
Yeah, so I went ahead and replanted, and then I'm going to also do my turmeric on these drip lines of the house like I did over there, so I haven't done that yet. But that's pretty much my whole deal here.
That's your high-tech, turning this from a garden into go to sleep?
Yeah, from market 2 weeks ago, Tuesday, I'll pretty much be done. You know, so it was an active market garden, you know, 10 days ago. And then 2 weeks later, it's going to be put to sleep, and I'm going to be going to Maine. So I got it down.
You're chasing the snow. You're out of here in a week.
Yep.
Wow.
And you can see, I think I grew maybe too many onions, but so that's a second generation of onions out on the wall. Okay.
Too many onions.
Well, we'll see. If you know, I know you can't sell stuff you don't have.
You have that little trailer you're towing now, right?
Right. But these are going to go in the. It'll be too hot in there. So
Can
I'm
that
going to
stay
be
in the
bringing.
truck?
I'm going to be bringing bees. 3 nukes of bees with me in the van.
What?
Yep.
Okay.
And then all these onions and all those onions.
You bringing some Florida bees to Maine?
Yeah. Because last year we got packages, and so you just get, you know, some bees and a queen with no brood and no honey. This way we'll get a nuke. There'll be, you know, 3 frames of brood, 2 frames of honey, a bunch of bees, and you know, as soon as I get there, they'll be able to forage.
You got somebody hooking you up down here?
Yeah, the honey couple.
Okay.
They're rocking it.
Which honey couple?
They're called the Honey Couple. That's the name of their business. They got this beautiful layout over in, you know, right behind Home Depot on Ridge. Yeah. There's that community back there, Orchid Lake. They're right on the lake. They got 3 acres, beautiful setup, and they're going commercial.
Really?
They're really rocking it. They're, you know, delivering bees all over the state. You know, not delivering, but, you know, harvesting. So they're rocking it. But yeah, so that'll just, between the maple syrup and the honey, we'll be set for sugar when the world falls apart. And then I did start some tomatoes that I'm going to take too.
From Florida, tomatoes.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise they'd have to be in the greenhouse shivering right now. But these, you know, I probably should have done everything a week later, because I'd love to have it right now leaving, because by the time I get there, they'd be perfect to go in the 4-inch. But I'm going to try to put these directly in the ground and market them at Memorial Day sale at Tide Mill. And then those will go directly in the ground as individual plants. So there's got to be, you know, 20,000 onions here.
Wow.
And at $1 a piece, it never works out that way, but theoretically, right?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
$1 per block.
Well, $1 per individual onion. So
okay.
When I pull these, I'm going to try something new, because these all fold over and die anyway, so I'm going to cut them like that when I get to Maine, and then I'll put them like that, and so there's, you know, 12 onions there. And,
$12.
And they, you know, and these are Elsa Craig's, so these could be those 2-pound onions you saw at Common Ground that year.
Wow.
And then I was getting $2 for those.
Did you bring them with you that year?
Yep.
Okay.
That was the year I was really successful with that, so.
Nice.
So that's going on. Yeah, I'm still, you know, I'm kind of being impressed with Josh Jameson's Chomalia.
Yeah, really?
Look, check it out. We'll see what happens when I get back, but, so these were tiny cuttings 3 months ago, sent in the mail. And I just stuck them in here. Yeah, so what he sent me was essentially that, right? And look at how nice they are, and it's a perennial kale. And, you know, I'm not much of a flavor guy, but he says it's the best tasting kale he's ever had. So,
wow.
Maybe I have. Pretty tender.
Not too bad for kale?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, anyway, yeah, I'm impressed with that. We'll see what happens. He says it pretty much defoliates during the summer.
And it starts from a cutting?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then it rocks as soon as September hits. You know, so it'll get through, and so then I'd actually have early kale to sell when I get here in September.
It's basically a perennial kale.
It is a perennial kale, yeah. Doesn't set seed.
It will never bolt.
Propagations is all from cuttings, but look at how many. I mean, if I wanted to start some, I probably should do that if I like it, but I want to make sure I like the crop. And, you know, there's 10 more cuttings on that I could take right now if I wanted.
Jim might have to try a couple of those.
Yeah. You maybe should grow it. No. Josh, anyway, Josh sells it at, this is a plug, at Cody Cove Farm. Yeah, he's a good kid.
He is good.
He's not a kid even. He's an old man now. All right, what else is going on?
Where do you plant that passion fruit? Well, you really cut that mango down.
Well, I'm going to do some grafting now. But so I planted it here because this is where I buried all the fish in between. You know, I caught all them trout.
Yeah.
So, but it's already climbing. So I'll probably run a string here and then do the 2 you bought me and just see if it'll, because it'd be nice to have them when I get back.
It's another straight to market. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's all good. And then this is another round of sweet potato slips that'll go in here when you leave.
Did you get too cold to get mangoes this year?
This one, everything, I think the saltwater they don't like.
It's pissing them off, huh?
See how all the tips are burnt?
Yeah.
So it might be, you know, it's worth it to me to, you know, not worry. I mean, I'd rather have the saltwater than, or, you know, be able to irrigate and not have mangoes, because they're not a really good crop for me anyway. But I am going to do some grafting. So that's one of the big things for Maine this year.
Grafting?
So I'm going to top work all the seedling trees in our meadows.
Seedling apples?
Yeah, so remember, I mean, there's seedlings all over the woods up there. And to top work them, all you do is do what they do with the mangoes. You did that, Richard Campbell?
Yeah.
So I'll just cut this here, right? Pretend it's an apple tree, and I'll stick like 4 grafts in here. They call it top working. So I got, you know, I bought the kit just so I'd have all the, you know, the tape and the wax and all that stuff. But I'm really excited. I've already got probably 20 varieties of scions in the refrigerator up at Hope's Haven. Jack sent me a bunch of varieties, and so within 3 years we could have 20 apples we're harvesting off seedling rootstock.
And these are all seedlings on your property?
Yeah, they're already there. So all you do is chop them down. You already got really good root. You don't have to worry about the borers, you know, when you plant the small trees. And you know, there's such a root system that it just pushes them heavy. So I'm going to try grafting that one over there on this one, because this one never bared. That's why I cut it down. But I was hoping it'd die, but I'm going to go ahead and try probably tomorrow, you know, just put a couple scions on that one.
So you're ready to get up there and hit the ground running?
Yeah, with the bees and the apples, and then the greenhouse is up and rolling, but the one that blew it down, I'm going to have to, you know, put that back up, but I've already got the repair pieces I'm going to bring up with the trailer. So yeah, things are looking up. It'll be a busy summer up there.
Exciting stuff.
You coming? You probably can't.
I'm trying.
You think so?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I'd like to get away in August, September.
Yeah, that's a good time. Yeah.
Is Common Ground in your future this year?
Yeah, I actually did the application for presenter for grass-fed vegetables. So yeah, I barely made it. I think May 2nd's the deadline. So yeah, hopefully I'll get in there. And then they're having a hay day this year at the fairgrounds. So all things related to hay. So there's a guy going to show up with American style scythe and show how that works. His name's Bouchard, I think his name is. And then I'm going to be there and bring the hay baler and show that off. And so that's the 23rd of June. So there's already stuff happening.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited. I just want to put this to sleep good. And now if Nick's staying here, hopefully there'll be no weeds when I get back too. That'd be great.
Make life a little easier.
Well, just, yeah, less stressful, because I don't like seeing weeds.
Well, we figured out how to get the sweet potato vines up last year, so we'll be ready to hit the ground again running with
That'll
those.
be good.
Yeah.
And I'm going to chop all those papayas down before I leave.
Just so they're shorter?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'll probably lose, you know, maybe, 25% by doing that, but to get it so you can pick the fruit. It's
Are those
so
all
good.
planted, or are they volunteers, Jim?
No, I planted these. So, I'm learning. So this is all north side of the garden. So there's no shading going on, so this is all good. So that's why, and they're perennials, so I hate perennials. Sorry to say. I shouldn't say hate, but they're hard to deal with if you've got weed problems. So, if I get any torpedo grass in there, you can't dig it out because the papaya roots are in there. So I'll never get rid of it. So it'll always be, but once I got one perennial, I said, what the hell? We'll have a bunch of perennials. So I got the Roselle in there too now. Because that's I planted way too many last year for what Alexander needs for the tea. That's all I need. That's what, 6 or 8 plants.
Does that go into market with you when you get back at all?
No, I dry that, and she
You're keeping all that one.
Yeah, and she puts it in her tea blends. And it's funny, there's a market up in Darby. You ever heard of the Vintage Farm Girls?
Okay.
So, and they came, it's actually a guy that used to work for the guy, or when I was doing that estate way back when out in Odessa, I stopped mowing lawns because I started doing, landscape install. So he had a lawn service. So he ended up doing the lawn service, got a lot of the materials out of that place when they sold it, but he's up in Darby now, and he's got raising cattle, and they're doing a market garden now, or a community garden, they're saying. But anyway, so they bought a bunch of tea, a bunch of chaga, so yeah, and a bunch of slips. It's cool that, over the years you just get these contacts, and then, the money kind of just falls out of the sky almost. It's pretty cool. So there's no stress. What else is going on? Oh, the mulberries are going off. Still, I'm glad I bought them. Well, I didn't buy
little
them.
guys doing their
Did
thing.
I buy them?
I think he got hooked up. You might know somebody, Jim.
Yeah, but, so from a 1 gallon, that's incredible. I've been eating, that was totally loaded. That's the world's best. That's all done. But so this is going to be really good for, I'm going to take some cuttings off it next year, but to have an earlier crop that I can take to market, because they are better than I thought. Once they ripen, they are pretty good.
Yeah.
The Thai dwarf is really good. And that has as much, I've been picking off that for a week. Or no, probably 10 days.
Look at all this fruit.
Look at that. And the birds are getting them too, but, and look at how big they are. They're almost as big as Thais. So this is
I think they're bigger than Thais.
I've seen Thais that are
A little longer maybe,
Yeah.
but these seem fatter.
Yeah, and they're interesting because, when you bite into them, those sections. They kind of separate like they're almost waxy. You know, so I think that would hold up good in shipping too, or, you know, getting to market, because the Tice you can't get to market.
These are really firm, yeah.
I mean, Tice, you got to pick them into the container and sell them that day.
Whoa.
But
Jim, I dropped the mulberry.
oh,
Come on, eat a couple.
oh,
You ever eat these things, Jim?
I do.
Oh,
It's one of my blood sugar.
these don't ever go to market though, huh?
Well,
Thai dwarf mulberry?
next year they will, because they'll be twice as big. Yeah, that's a handful of goodness, huh?
You haven't lived until your fingers have been stained with mulberry.
Well, you know, the thing is, you shouldn't be stained if you know how to pick. Do you know how to pick?
I get them from the stem. How do you do it?
So it's like apples. If you lift, they come off. If you pull, they don't.
Oh.
No squish. But when you pull, they often try to hold on, and then you get, you know, squished.
Hmm. Well, that one was extra special.
They're good. Yeah, I'm excited about that. I'll probably put more along that back side.
It's pretty impressive how a small tree can produce so much fruit. I mean, this thing's like barely 6 foot, Jim. You gonna keep them short like this too?
I don't know. I don't mind picking on a ladder.
Oh, that's what Jim was talking about. So just lift it up. I do tend to pull them. That was a pro tip. Nice.
Hey, these foragers know stuff. I mean, I used to pick so many on that Tice in the alley. That was such a productive plant.
All right, Jim. So maybe one more video before you go.
How are you gonna do that? Oh yeah, you might do that one. Yeah, right.
Coming back next Wednesday.
Oh, you got a date?
We got a date.
Okay.
Yeah. We're on 9 a.m.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, should be almost done.
All right.
But then I'm gonna maybe do some stuff I've been putting off. We'll see. But see, I'm a farmer, so first thing is the garden. Last thing is like the house and the repairs or whatever. But.
All right. Until next week.
All right.
All right, so the master is heading back to Maine. Another great follow-up over here. Jim's always got some great knowledge to share with y'all. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to hit that like button. It is 2022. You guys need to get out there and start a garden like Jim. Anybody can do this. Pounder.